All right, Con, welcome to the channel, bro.
Yeah, I feel grateful. Glad to have you here, man.
Dude, I'm super pumped to have you here. This is the first case study that we've ever had on the YouTube
Yep.
channel with someone who's particularly from Greece and has English as their second language. And so I think for a lot of people who are in other parts of the world, like Europe, and maybe even have stronger accents or English as a second language, I think there's a lot of cool things today I want to share in this case study about your story because you come from very humble background. You come from working in the military, and you have a pretty cool story in breaking the space. And I'm sure there's lots of guys we'll be able to learn from this. So let's kick things off. Um, how much did you make in? Well, what's like the big highlight result that we're talking about that we covered before you got in this call, just from your mouth? And what have you achieved recently? That's why we're here.
Yeah, of course. So I did achieve my first 10K month last month, and that was like in a period of 10 days as well. So that's actually incredible. And the fact that I got into the position to be able to achieve such an income, especially coming from like a country from like Cyprus, from Greece, that's like 10x average salary, and I'm 20 years old. So it's incredible.
It's wild, man. It's wild. And it definitely didn't start there. And I want to take the guys back to before you met me, how you met me, how you came to, join the
Yep.
space, how you came to join the RSA in the first place, because we actually worked together in another program that I was involved with for a couple of years, actually, in a smaller
Yep.
community. So take us back to before you got into high ticket sales. Why did you get into it? How do we meet? All that type of good stuff.
Yep. I mean, to be honest with you, like most people, like before I got into sales, I was researching about e-commerce, dropshipping, trading, crypto, you know the drill. And I didn't take action on anything. Like I was researching about everything for a few months. I didn't really take action on anything. And then I came across sales and I was like, boom, this is it. Like this is the answer. Doesn't really require you capital. It's a skill that improves your communication, which I find is a really important skill to learn if you want to like have a better life in general. And then I found that community that you mentioned. I got into that. I met you. I was joining the course while I was serving in the military. And then towards the end of my service, I started doing like a DM setting. I had some success there. Like it wasn't like the best offer. Then I was doing a little bit of cold calling on terrible offers. I didn't really know how to find good offers. Like I didn't really know what a good offer is.
Mm-hmm.
And when I realized that, like in November 2024, I joined your mentorship because I knew I had to learn the skill of offer acquisition, become better at sales so I can find like a solid role. And like 1, 2 months afterwards, like I found my first solid role. I started off with setting. And then after that, I progressed into like full cycle closing. And then I got into another offer, full-time closing. And here I am today.
Crushing it. Amazing, man.
Yep.
And what led you to take that risk? Because obviously we had built a bit of relationship through like another community that I was coaching as I mentioned before. But what led you to taking that risk? Because you spent a lot of money, right? A large portion of your savings, if not pretty
Yep.
much everything you had to work with me. So
Yep.
what led to that decision and why did you decide to take such a big risk when it comes to jumping into the space?
Well, two things, to be honest with you. Like, first of all, like I knew that doing something like a traditional route of going into university was not for me. And it's not even for most people. Like most people go to the university route, even though it's not for them specifically. I knew it wasn't for me. I knew I needed to do something different to have a better lifestyle. I knew I needed to do something online because I knew what the possibilities were, seeing everybody online. So I had to take that risk. And the second thing is because I knew that in order to be congruent in sales, you have to make that decision for yourself. You have to invest in yourself. It like I literally invested like almost everything that I had like to join into the mentorship because I knew that if I did that, that would just make me more congruent if I want to like sell to a prospect. So I knew it was an important decision in order like to make that change. And at the same time being congruent.
Love that. And give the guys a bit of contrast. Obviously, you'd looked at like different make money online business models in the past
Yeah.
as well. But I mentioned briefly there about you being in a military background. To give the
Mhm.
guys a bit of contrast, like what you did before high ticket sales, what were you doing in the military? What was that like, contrasting to your lifestyle now?
Yeah, of course. Like being in the military, like obviously it taught me like a lot of lessons in terms of like discipline, like pushing yourself to the limits. Even before the military, like even in general, like doing fitness, like is a very important thing that aligns a lot with sales because like everything that you are doing, like mindset wise, physically relates to sales because you gotta push yourself, you gotta work hard, you gotta be consistent. It's always about mindset. The way that you show up outside of the course is how you will show up to the course. And in general, like pushing myself in that like period in the military, it gave me like that experience I needed in life before I got into sales. So I do not regret that period.
Yeah, 100%. And so at the moment, you've been traveling the world for
Yeah.
pretty much like the last
Mhm.
year or so. Where have you lived? Where are you living now? What's that lifestyle been like? Obviously, you work extremely hard to get to where you've gotten to and keep the result that you've gotten to and sustain that lifestyle. But what does it look like? Where have you traveled to? Where have you gone? Again, where do you live now?
Yeah, I mean, I have made a few travels. Obviously, if I wanted, I could do more. But right now, I live in Colombia. It's actually like you're living the dream here. Like when I first got into here, I it felt like so unreal when I got into here. And especially after a month when I got here, I was reflecting on the view, the city, and I was like, how did I get here? Like I was so like amazed on the fact that I managed to make this work, like be able to make income online, like literally from my laptop, from my phone, being able to travel anywhere that I want, whenever I want, and being able to do any activities that you want whenever you want in your day. It's actually an incredible feeling. So right now I'm in Colombia. I have been a little bit in Bali, USA, and let's see where the future is going to take us.
It's pretty crazy, man. Like
Yeah,
honestly, like it's one of the life's great luxuries that I wish most people watching this case study can
yep,
experience in terms of making money online. Because if you're a young guy watching this you might be watching this in your later 20s and your 30s, and that might not be of massive interest to you. But in your early 20s, because you're 20 right now, right?
yep,
It's like one of the coolest things to be able to not only be able to make money online, but also travel together in that same element, because you're able
exactly.
to, instead of traveling and losing money, you're traveling and making money and more than you could have ever done with your careers back home. And it's just a life changing perspective, whether or not you want to live in Bali or Medellin, South America, or really any place in the world, right? Southeast Asia, wherever you want to go, Bali. Um, it's truly one of the best experiences you can probably experience. I'm sure you can probably attest to that as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's an amazing experience to actually be able to do it, and also the fact that like I met so many people that I knew online, like from the sales space. It was like they were taken out of Zoom, and then I see them in person. It felt so weird, but
Mm,
like incredible at the same time. So being able to hang out with all these people that have the same mindset, want to grow as well, is an incredible thing. And at the same time, like if you're coming from a European country and you're working like the US hours, like it's kind of hard to do it for a long period of time. Like even if I did it and I didn't care, like it's not good for your health to work like from 5 p.m. to 3 a.m., 5 a.m. for a long period of time. So it's always important like to make that move, to take that risk and actually go live like somewhere like in South America, USA, or if you're in an Australian offer like in Bali, Thailand.
100%. I agree.
Yeah,
I say that once you've built a foundation in this space industry and you've earned good income and you're consistent and you're very confident you could go to different time zones, I always suggest if you want
exactly.
to work in different markets, just work in different time zones. For example, like for Australian clients, I recommend if they want to go in the US market, work in the Australian market. And then once you've got a good amount of savings, take that lifestyle and expenditure and
Mhm.
that those savings that runway and then go live in, Medellin or South America or wherever you want to go that's more time zone applicable because you can earn more being like, you're earning USD is obviously less than euros, but USD to Australian dollars is quite the contrast exchange rate.
Yeah.
So it's always good to be able to take advantage of different markets. But what's that been like for you being able to meet other people in the high ticket sales space and community and like create that network and meet up with, business owners as well that are probably quite successful? How has that changed your thinking? Like, what's that experience been like coming from a very, very small place in the other side of the world in Greece to probably speaking to some very, very successful people? How has that changed your worldview? How are things different? And what's that experience been like?
Yeah, like honestly, like because I was never exposed to this, like in real life, I didn't like realize like the levels to the game, and especially coming like to this like place country here, like in Medellin, there are so many business owners and like other salespeople, and like hearing their income and what they are doing, I'm like, oh shit, I'm still in the early stages. Like for some people, achieving 10K per month or 20K per month is like a dream, but it's just the beginning. That's what you realize when you network with these people. It's like nothing, it's like pennies. And when you
Mm.
realize that at the same time, you also become like abundant and you realize that, okay, I achieved 10K, so what? We gotta go to the next level. So,
Yeah, and to a lot of people watching this case, so they'll think you probably sound crazy, right? That that's just like
yeah,
out of bounds because you got to understand, a lot of people, even though there's so much social proof on the YouTube channel of us getting to 10K a month with so many people consistently, over. I think this will be the 54th case study that we've filmed, and we've got so many others that we haven't filmed yet, but um, that might be so hard for people to conceptualize and believe, right? So,
yeah,
what are the numbers that you've seen from your personal experience of like people that are next to you? Because you say 10K a month is like the beginning level for a lot of people watching these case studies. That's like next level, which it is for most people. What are the types of numbers that you're seeing with like these business owners that you spend time with in person? And like, what are the levels?
yeah. I mean, first of all, like in terms of like sales specifically, I have seen people making over 50K many times and even 100K per month. So like there are also like levels to sales specifically. And in terms of business owners, I mean, I have seen many that achieve like millions and per year on a monthly basis. So possibilities are huge, and especially when you see like other people making billions, then you realize, okay, this is high, but then you see other people, okay, there is even higher to that.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
great that you mentioned that because I think high ticket sales for anyone that's watching this looking to get in this industry is one of the greatest forms of exposure to what's actually possible and the levels of opportunity and the growth that you can have in the online space in general. Obviously, again, 10K a month is possible, 50K a month USD is possible in commissions. Like you said, even 100K a month in commissions is even possible for certain individuals in this space, which again might sound ridiculous to most people watching this
yeah,
case, and I can understand that. I can totally get that, but you just have to look and you'll find it. There's a lot of case studies on this YouTube channel that are representative of that. There's a ton of results in this space. Um, but coming back to the main point, I think what's really cool that you mentioned is high ticket sales is almost like the gateway to like the online world, the best gateway you can have because it doesn't require any capital. You just need to
exactly.
have a high work ethic.
Yeah,
And as long as you have a high work ethic and you're a good culture fit for companies, you have good values, good standards, you're a good personality, you're someone that's, people can get along with. As long as you have those core things and you're consistent, this is the best beeline doorway into this online space without having to have a ton of capital to have
mhm,
connections or anything like that. You can start with no experience and know nobody, just like you have coming from the other side of the world in Greece.
yeah, exactly.
Being able to, now be on the other side of the world, networking, connecting, building relationships, and earning the same money, being around people who are at this massive high level, which you could never have even fathomed probably even a year ago, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I couldn't imagine like being here like a year ago, to be honest with you. And at the same time, like sales is something that will always be here. Like it will never
Mm.
die. Like sales will always be a necessity to any kind of business, and it will be hard to replace from AI. Like especially like closing prospects. that will take many, many years to be replaced.
Yeah,
Decades.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And so obviously this is quite the contrasting jump from where you're at not only a year ago, right?
Mhm.
Does your family know what you do? How do they feel about this? Like, what is their awareness of your
Yeah.
career, all that type of stuff? And what were their general thoughts before you even got into this as well? When you left home and you started traveling the world and all those type of things?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they were very surprised that I had to like leave the country, and like most of them don't really know what I'm doing. Like only a few from my family know. They don't really have an idea yet in like in terms of the income that I'm making, like what I'm doing. So I didn't tell them yet specifically. Like obviously it is a little bit like stressing like for the parents when you're making a move at a young age, but you still gotta do it. And when you do it is they will accept it. Like after you do it and it becomes normal, like slowly, slowly. But the hardest part was the university, like
Mm,
making that jump over the university. And I believe a lot of like viewers that watch this as well, like might have the same like struggle
mm,
when they have to go to university because their parents tell them, especially from many like European countries or other countries, it's like a culture thing when the families like have to put their kids into college or university, but most of the times, because of that, they are not doing it like for them. Like most of the people that go to that place, they're not going for their goals. It's not
mm.
what they actually want. So I will honestly say to everybody, like, just make that move, do what you actually want, think about your goals, think about what you actually want in life, and instead of going into a vehicle that is not for you, find a vehicle that is actually going to get you where you want.
It's a great take. And I think a lot of guys I work with, whether or not, you can refer to at university or college, wherever you're at in the world, it's a pretty common theme that a lot of guys I work with are usually
Yeah.
studying a degree that they don't want to study because their parents wanted them to. And they're just studying because that's what they were forced to do, unfortunately. And that was the next best thing, right? Just socially, that's what is successful. So that's the first step that you take. But I
Yeah.
can strongly resonate with that because even when I first got started with high ticket sales coming out of high school, I just knew before I graduated that there was a better path. And I knew that there was better things that existed out there, but I wasn't sure quite exactly what that was. And
Yeah.
my parents had put away a fund. They didn't lose money, but they put away enough money in a nest egg for an investment where I would have got paid upwards of $25,000 if I just went to do university. I just did that first year of university. And at the time, I looked incredibly selfish because I said I didn't want to do it. And I didn't want to waste not even a year. My parents didn't lose money, but they could have put that money and invested somewhere else. But I basically just said no to 25 grand that I had put aside, that my parents had put aside for me, because I just didn't want to waste a year of my time doing something that I knew I didn't have a future in, or I didn't want to, waste time jumping into something so soon and so early that I wasn't confident that I wanted to do. And I think when you're at that age, I mean, you're quite young as well, but I mean, when you're at that age, you don't really know what you want to do the rest of your life. I think for most people can resonate with that. And
Yeah.
if you're watching this, it's like I agree with what Con said. You have to start thinking for yourself, and you have to know, are you going to be comfortable and confident with the choices you're making with university and college right now? And is it something that you want to do long term? If not, you're probably going to end up wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars in uni degree debt, college debt, for the reason to appease to someone else's self interests.
Yeah, exactly. And funnily enough, it only takes like a day to just think about all these things. Like if you really
Yes,
take the time, like few hours or not even an hour, like to think about these things, like it can be very life-changing and beneficial. Like
absolutely.
just sitting in silence and just actually thinking about what you want 5 years from now, 3 years from now, 10 years. Like, is this really what I want? And then you just gotta make decisions based off of that.
Absolutely. Make decisions off who you want to be and what you want to have, not your current present version of self and where you're
Exactly.
currently at. One thing I really want to touch on, which I think is really, really, really important, because there's a lot of people who I think your story is very inspiring because elephant out the gate or elephant in the room, you have an accent, English is your second language. you're from, a place in Europe being Greece, right? For a lot of people coming to this industry, they might have an accent, they might have English as their second language, right? And that's a big belief they have in their mind is like, I can't do high ticket sales or it's going to prevent me from being successful. What would you say to someone who's thinking those things or has come from that background or comes from that background who's looking to explore the place in general, the space in general? And how did you overcome that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, in the beginning, I also had like that limiting belief, to be honest with you. Like, obviously, I didn't care. I still wanted to do it, like, but I still had that limiting belief. And then I realized that having an accent is actually like an advantage. It's always about like beliefs, like how you believe things. So having an accent is like an advantage that makes you unique. It makes you stand out compared to everybody else. Because like even though you are speaking to Americans, like everybody sounds the same. Like they have
Mm-hmm.
like the same people from the same country, like calling them every day. But if you have an accent, you sound a little bit unique. Like, and what's really important is sounding clear. That's what you should focus on when you have an accent. Like speaking
Mm-hmm.
slower, working on that. When you think you're going slow, you should go slower, like you were telling me in the beginning, which was like a life-changing advice for me. So you have to go slower. You have to record yourself, practice, practice your speech, practice sounding clear, being understandable. Because if the prospect doesn't understand you, then you will not be able to communicate with them. So it's always
Mm-hmm.
about like how you believe it is, how you will perceive it.
It's beautiful. And I think that's a really great way to reframe the perspective
Yeah,
of someone who has those doubts, which is just the only thing is just being able to be able be able to be understood. And where
exactly.
that comes from is just being able to speak more slowly and more clearly. I
Hmm.
think you are very right with a lot of guys who are trying to break into sales with English as a second language is they just speak too fast. And that's pretty
Exactly.
much like 80% of the whole thing. Obviously, you can practice, you can do new iterations, you can listen to yourself speaking aloud, you can, train and do reps and things like that, which is all the things that you've done to implement and get better at English in general and speak more fluently. But that is where 80% of the work comes from. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's normal because we tend to speak faster, like in European countries,
Mm-hmm.
like in other countries, like they tend to speak faster than Americans. So yeah, it's normal.
I love that. I think for a lot of people looking at this space with English as a second language or have an accent, and it kind of abolishes it. And just on that last point, all you have to do is look for evidence of people like Con or a lot of people in this industry that have gotten the results that, someone that with an accent or English as a second language is looking at from this. As long as you have, I mean, it's probably even, better hearing it from you. What do you think are the main things you need to have alongside those things? Working on your accent, speaking slow, these type of things.
Mhm.
What are the supporting things you feel like one might need in terms of characteristics, how they show up, and how they present themselves to be successful in the industry itself?
Yeah, of course. Like first of all, you gotta like ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing. That way you are not just like dialing for no reason at all. Because then you will burn out and then you will stop doing what you are doing. At some point you will give up. So you gotta ask yourself, why am I doing this like every day? You have to remind yourself like these things because it's not about motivation. It's always about like being disciplined and consistent when you don't feel like it. So like having that work ethic and consistency as well is very important. It is something like you're talking about many times as well. Like it's always about compounding because your results will compound like slowly, slowly. You will not see any results maybe for the first like 6 months or the first 3 months or a year even, but then everything will come together. That's what always happens. Like it's the same pattern always and always. So you gotta be persistent and always keep going, like and have that work ethic. You have to have the mindset of I need to outperform everybody else in the team, no matter what. You gotta aim for top one always in any kind of offer you are working on.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you gotta have those important reasons in terms of
Mm-hmm.
why you are doing this.
Yeah, I strongly agree. And a lot of people like to watch these case study interviews before coming working with me inside the RSA, and I think it does a really, really good job of setting the right expectations of what's required to be successful and how people need to show up because I get, to work with great people like yourself, hence why we get such great results. And so, what do you think it takes to be successful in terms of the inputs, in terms of the actions, in terms of the work ethic? Like, what have you done over the last year timeline that's allowed you to get to 10K a month?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you gotta first realize that it's not about sales skills specifically. It's about having like the skill to sell yourself in an interview and getting the right offers. So really, like investing in yourself, like in a mentor, is like a big step and a very important step if you want to be successful in the space. So that was one thing, and the second thing, like, it's to always stay consistent and persistent. So it's about mentorship and mindset, in my opinion. That is what
Super
is
interesting.
required to get to that position.
Super interesting. And it's a great insight. I wanted to add on to what you said before about having someone have like a key core motivator and a drive behind what they do. One thing that I wanted to touch on that element, because you said it's really important to have a why behind every action of what you're doing. Making money is not just enough. And it might be enough for some people, for most people who are looking to get into this industry. It's not going to be overnight. You do need to be persistent and consistent, like Con said. It's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take a lot of time. And this is something that you build and it compounds over time. So you need to consistently put in the actions day in, day out. It's important to find out and dig deep before you look at getting into space or even looking at working with us inside the RSA of why are you doing this? Why is making money so important to you? And why do you want to have the lifestyle that a lot of these guys talk about? Because if you just want to make money and that's your only core driver and motivator, you will struggle because there will be days where you
Exactly.
want to quit, which I'm sure there's been many times in your cases on your end where you just wanted to quit because it's just got so hard, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you will not just you will not just like be persistent for years with no results just to get some digits in your bank for no
Yeah,
reason at all.
yeah, yeah.
So it's always what's behind that. It's always important to ask yourself that every day.
100%. You'd probably be considered crazy if you didn't have that core drive motivator, and
Mhm.
you will fail because, like you said, if you're doing all this challenging work and you're putting in all this effort for just some ones and zeros in the bank account, then you'll struggle to be consistent and get the results you're looking for, which is a great point
Mhm.
that you bring up. And so, what do you sell at the moment? Just to give the guys a bit of context, what are the last two offers that you've sold? Because
Mhm.
I get asked this question all the time, like, what do you actually sell in the high ticket sales industry? Like, what offers can you sell? So to give the
Yeah.
guys an example, what are the current offer that you sell, and what is the last offer that you've sold in the past? Just to give the guys an example of like what you can
Yeah, I mean,
sell
I
in the
can.
industry.
Yeah, I mean, I can start from the beginning. Like when I was DM setting in the beginning, I was doing like Instagram theme pages, like kind
Mm-hmm.
of mentorship. It's like faceless accounts in Instagram, which is like it was like a viral thing at that time. And another thing I did was like cold calling for marketing agencies, the classical thing, which was like terrible. And after that, when I found my first solid role, it was real estate education for
Mm-hmm.
Americans specifically. I was doing like a inbound setting for Americans, real estate education. I have been to a huge sales agency at that time. I have been to three offers in the same company. And then after that, I transitioned to the offer that I own right now, which is AI. So basically selling AI mentorship to people who are trying to make a career transition towards a like making a career with AI, and or business owners who are trying to learn how to implement AI towards their business to take it to the next level.
Of that. Yeah. So for those guys that are curious of like what type of offers you can sell, that's a great suite of
Yeah,
different examples, mainly in the biz op niche, right? Primarily like helping people make
mhm,
money. Biz op is short for
exactly.
business opportunity, and that's a good amount of opportunities in this space. And for those that are curious, there's offers that will help people make money. or it could be helping someone start a business, or basically the main core health, wealth, and relationships. So anything that can provide someone a better quality of life in those areas is pretty much what offers consist of in this space.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
so
I've done a
you
little bit of
guys,
fitness as well.
you've done a bit of fitness, right? I remember
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah,
right? Yeah, that jogs my memory. The good old
yeah,
trenches, I
yeah,
would
yeah.
say. Um, but what's your goal from here, man? Obviously, you're crushing it. You're doing super well. You're smashing it. You're really young. What are you gonna set your sights on for 2026, and where do you want to head to?
Oh, 50K per month.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's in US. It's very, I believe it's very doable. Like I can see the plan in how it's like very doable and achievable.
Hmm.
Especially like given the fact that I have done like 10K in 10 days.
Yeah.
And then I'm asking myself, okay, how can I repeat this for 30 days straight to achieve 30K? And then how can I make increase the quality to achieve 50K then?
It's
So very doable.
it's pretty crazy to hear that, right? Going from, what was your salary in the military?
Oh, it was like pretty small, like 200 or something. Like it wasn't like an actual job, but it was like 200 per month, something like that.
200 euros per month to
Yep.
setting sights on 50K US a month is a pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's like
Next,
1,000 X or something.
it's a pretty crazy transformation to go from I want to hit 10K a month to now having such big, setting your sights on such big ambitious goals. It's really cool to see that transformation from, you know, nearly a year ago you would have, begged and, cried to make 10K a month because that was a huge thing to you at the time. Now
Yep.
it's straight from that all the way up to this next level, which is for a lot of people listening, like a crazy thing to conceptualize, but as you've said, you've seen from your own perspective, it's possible, and the people around you doing it. And
Yeah,
I've seen it
exactly.
happen time and time again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Part of why I didn't really feel anything when I achieved 10K. Like I was feeling very neutral. I was like, okay, yeah, I was supposed to hit that onto the next client.
Yeah, which is
Just
crazy.
like that. Yep.
It's a crazy space, man. High ticket sales is honestly one of the best opportunities that I see in 2026, especially for someone who has no capital, no skills, no experience.
Hmm.
It's one of the best places where you can get your start and
Yep.
really get your foot in this industry. Um, Tell me about your experience of like working in the RSA. What's your feedback? What was it like working with me? What was it like being a part of a community? Because you went from working in a smaller community in another community I was a part of to getting that higher touch feedback inside the RSA. So, what was that experience like,
Hmm.
and how do we do things differently?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it was a huge difference, honestly. Like, like every time that I had like a struggle, I could ask you just a question, like you would just give me like that short answer, that tweak that I needed to do in my like process in terms of offer acquisition, sales, and it would just like make a difference. Like having those calls like every day and having the opportunity to ask questions every day and improve my skill set, it's like life changing because you can always like improve every day and you cannot really do this on your own. It's really hard like to because you don't have somebody to give you feedback who experienced the same mistake and learn from those mistakes, and it really accelerates your results to be able to have that kind of third party feedback from an expert,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time like being surrounded in an environment of like other people who want the same thing, who are going through the same thing, is also very motivating and inspiring as well, and it's also good for networking because you get a lot of opportunities here.
Mm-hmm.
And like especially like the applications you have, like I'm very grateful for that because you can find really good offers from that as well. So it's been amazing to be honest with you. It's and from what I have seen as well, I gotta say this is I believe you have the highest success rate that I have ever seen in terms of communities and mentorships. Like because you genuinely care about your clients' results. Like it's like you're going all in for every person, and I don't really see that like everybody everywhere else. So
I love that, man. No, I really appreciate that.
yep.
It's always great to hear that feedback, especially you know, not this is not an interview that I filmed back in 2024. This is, 16th of
Hmm.
February 2026. So I love to hear that every interview, and I love to hear that's still the fresh, up to date feedback that we're getting on a daily and a weekly and monthly basis. It's really cool to hear. And um, obviously, I would say, yeah, we do have some of, if not the best results in the space from a case study point of view and from the community side point of view. Obviously, you've been in the space for a while now. You've met other people from other communities. Not to say that other communities are bad, but what do you
Yeah.
say would be the biggest contrast from what you've seen from different communities or different people that you've spoken to from different communities? Where would you say RSA stands out based off, your experience
Yeah.
from what you've seen other people in other
Mhm.
communities?
Yeah, there is one important thing that makes it stand out, to be honest with you. And I mean, it's not that like other communities out there are bad. I mean, there are good communities out there, of course, but it's like one thing that stands out here, which is specifically you focusing on offer acquisition. Because like a lot of like people out there, a lot of like mentors, a lot of communities, they tell you to master the ability of sales, master that. Maybe they tell you a little bit about offer acquisition, but it's not what you actually need to make money in this space. Like there is a lot of like brainwashing in the space, especially like those the marketing of these like coaches and a lot of companies that tell you it's about the driver, not the vehicle, but it's actually mostly about the vehicle because if you are a driver and like the best driver in the world and you drive to a Toyota, then you will go slower than an okay driver driving a Ferrari. So you gotta learn the skill set of offer acquisition, vetting the right offers, how to interview, which is what you're focusing on first before everything else. So that way they can get into a good offer, your clients can get into a good offer, and then master the ability of sales when they actually get the opportunity.
Mm. And you've noticed after spending time with people from other communities or other people that you've met in the space in general, even guys who've been in the space for a while, even the guys who are the most trained or even have great skill set usually will make less money than you because they just don't understand one that that's the problem, but two how to
Exactly.
actually solve the problem.
Yep, exactly. I have seen many people like being overqualified, like in terms of their skill set, but not making the money they want because they are not in the right offer, because they don't
Which
know how to find the right offer.
Yeah, which I honestly do believe is 80% of it. So it's great to hear that from your
Yep,
perspective, from someone who's been in the industry and seen and met a lot of other successful guys in the space. So great feedback, amazing. If in case it isn't obvious already, how likely would you be to recommend the RSA and what would you tell someone who's sitting on the fence?
yeah, like I mean, just do it. Like honestly, like you have to invest in yourself. Like if you want to be concurrent in this like industry as well, you have to invest in yourself. Like any kind of excuse you are giving yourself, whether that's logistical or not, honestly, it's just an excuse. And excuse my language, but it's kind of like bullshit, like what you're telling to yourself.
Yeah,
You gotta like eliminate all the excuses and just do it no matter what. If you don't have the finances, you can always become resourceful. Like maybe it doesn't have to be at that right day, but find a way to like come up with the finances, invest in yourself. Everything else is just an excuse. You just gotta do it no matter what.
I completely agree. I had someone that joined the RSA over the weekend. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I can't remember. Who sold his car to enter into the training program,
Exactly.
right? Covered the full payment, and he didn't have much left over. But it was just he wanted to get rid of the car, so he became resourceful to get inside the program once he knew what was involved and he knew what he had to do, and he became resourceful. So, yeah, if you're watching this, if you don't have the funds together of getting the support that you need, it's not the fact that perhaps you could even probably put it in better words for me, Con, considering you probably got a good reframe for this, but being that it's not your lack of resources, it's your lack of resourcefulness is probably what I was trying to come up with, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I was trying to think of,
It's
right?
mindset. Being
Yeah,
resourceful, it's a mindset thing.
100%. It's a mindset, and if you don't have the funds together now, you can always figure out where to get them, right? There's always ways to overcome that as a problem. So, yeah, great notes. Any final takeaways, any final comments you wanted to share with everybody?
To be honest, no, like just take action, just do it, just get into this and think about what you actually want in life. That's the first thing. Like even before you take action on something, just think about what you actually want because it's not for everybody. That's just the truth. For radical transparency, this is not for everybody. It's not an easy thing. It's not something you can see like a result within a month's time frame, even though it's possible, most likely it's not going to happen. So think about what you actually want, think about what's required to be able to get to that position, and be willing to make those sacrifices to get to that position, and then just make that decision, take action. Everything else is that you're telling to yourself is just an excuse, no matter what that is.
100%. Amazing. Very wise words. So yeah,
Yep.
fantastic interview, dude. Thanks for hopping on. Ton of value for a lot of guys that are looking to get in the space. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the interview and we'll see you guys the next one.